Life Without a Witness. Thank you all for being here again with me today. So since the time that I've been here, oh, and again, let me just let you know, so for Life Without a Witness, what I talk about here is basically how I'm experiencing life now that I have discovered something else, and which you can read about in my book, Firing God. I talk about all that. So when I come on with you all for an hour for once a month, you know, I really want to give you an idea of what life is like now. Okay, because it's not just about, you know, talking about nothing's really here or we're all one or, you know, whatever we talk about. I still have to live every day. Okay, I still got to do dishes. I still have to discipline kids. I still have to, you know, go to work and have conversations with people and all that. However, it's different now than it was before. Okay, so so that's what I talk about, and it's really exciting. It's very exciting. I was thinking yesterday how I just wonder about so many things. I never did that before. You know, I wonder about a lot of things, even after it feels like I've, you know, researched and found some answers. I'm still wondering because I know now that that's not the answer. Okay, there is no definitive answer. Okay, I don't care how strategic and online and on point you were with your scientific method. Okay, that's not the answer. Okay, so I now I get that. So today, so I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today with you all, and I'm very excited because of the way that I operate now. There are always things that I do and say that that remind me about what I see. Okay. Now, I told you all that I work in cybersecurity. All right. And the other day, I was on my board back here with the yellow stickies on it, working on some stuff, researching some stuff, just writing stuff down. And I started thinking about, so I've redefined what security, what that actually means. Okay. And let me tell you something else. So I said that my spiritual life, and I hate calling it spiritual because that has a connotation that's not correct, but I don't have another word right now. So anyway, the things that I believe, you know, the stuff that I talk about, all that it's permeated everything in my life, like everything, all my personal, my work, my dream, everything. Okay. So when I think about work, okay, which we talked about not yesterday, the last time we talked. So I talked about security. Security is something that I talk about. And for me, it means to be secure, if you really think about it, means to be free. All right. Think about when you feel most secure. Okay. Let's say in your house. Okay. When you feel secure in your home or in your neighborhood, what do you do? Okay. You go outside, you check the mail, you might put your windows up, you know, you may leave your door open to let the air in or something, you know, you go for a walk. When you feel secure, you feel free to do things, okay? When you don't feel secure, I'm talking about physical security here, okay? When you don't feel secure, what do? If you didn't feel secure in your neighborhood, would you feel free to just go outside at any time and walk the dog or leave your windows open or your door open or go sit on your porch? Or, you know, when you don't feel secure, you constrict yourself, you make your space a lot smaller, right? Because you don't feel safe or secure. So for cybersecurity, the way and if you look at any other definition of that for security, it's more about, you know, someone like putting bars on your windows, okay, and things like that, versus being free. Okay, so that's the way, first of all, the way I see it. So I was thinking about this, right? And I was writing some stuff down, and what I wrote down on the board actually was on a yellow sticky that I have right here. Okay, what I wrote was, one thing that we do is it's called hardening, right? Where you put controls on stuff. Okay, so like if you have kids, you got your laptop, you put the parental controls on it, to stop certain things from coming in. Okay, so we call that hardening, right? But when I thought about it, I was like, okay, so hardening is like a callus. Okay, so if you have a cup of trees, and on the outside, the wind and all kinds of stuff is happening to the trees. So the trees on the outside are going to develop a callus on the bark, okay, to help protect it. It's just like when you develop calluses on your hands or your feet or whatever, whatever you're doing, where there's a lot of pressure from the outside, okay? But a callus is something that emerges from inside, okay? So that's what I wrote down. I wrote, hardening to protect and defend. Hardening emerges from the inside. And what I find myself doing is I use language like that, like, emerging out of, I use that kind of language. And I was like, Cheryl, ain't nobody gonna know what the hell you talking about. What you mean emerges from the, like, what does that mean, But I talk and I write that way, the way that I, all the stuff that I talked about in Fire and God and other things. So, when I wrote that, I was like, okay, so how am I going to actually talk about, say this in a way that people are going to get it, okay, are going to get what I'm talking about. From Facebook, Lance Bell says, hi, Lance. The energy of seeking and the suffering that accompanied it seems to have died, but I still have occasional fears that the seeking will return. Any advice with dealing with these fears? Any fears that the seeking will return? I'm going to address that throughout, but let me just say really quickly, it's really something that you asked that question, Lance, because I was thinking last night, I don't even remember, like I can see it now. I see the images and stuff about when I was asking questions and, knew there was something going on, but wasn't quite sure what it was and trying to find it and all that. But it's almost like it's a distant thing. It almost feels like how you can remember your childhood, where you were and all that. I mean, you remember that stuff, but it's not going to return. I mean, you're done. you're done with that. Okay. No, you're not going back to second grade or third grade. I mean, you can remember all day long, but you're done. Okay. That's a whole nother thing, right? So there is no fear, but I'm going to return to, my childhood, because it's just finished, and there's really nothing to return to, right? So once you're able to see and really realize that, there would be nothing to deal with, there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to return to. To the trees and the hardening and all that. So I was figuring, so how do I figure this out? How do I say this in a way that helps people understand what I'm saying? Which then led me to, I remember writing, and there was a Facebook group when I first, my book first came out and all that. And I mean, we were just in there. We were just in there talking about non-duality and all these things. And someone had read my book, and something I talked about in there was how it now feels like there's nothing to do. Okay, absolutely nothing to do, like nothing to do. And when I say that, I mean nothing. Okay, there's no agenda, there's no urgency, there's no next step, there's no journey, no process, no nothing. There's just nothing to do. Okay. And I gave an example about how, if there's a fire in a house, in your house, in a loved one's house or something, and, the fire trucks are coming, you're trying to save people and all that. still at that time, at that moment, everything is already done. Like there's nothing to do. So somebody commented and said, well, what do you mean there's nothing to do? Of course, you've got to go in and, save your pets and your kids or whatever. Who's just going to stand there and not do anything, And so I was like, you're right. You're right. But that's not what I mean when I say nothing to do, right? Nothing to do means there's no reason for it. Okay, there's no reason for fire or water or space or wood or sound. I mean, there's no reason for that stuff. Okay, so that's what I mean when there's nothing to do. Okay, because there's no, there's just no reason for it, none at all, not one. And because I see and feel that, my question was, when it came to this hardening stuff and me saying things in a way that people get it, okay? I thought, well, how do I, because we talk about the journey a lot, and I do a lot of mentoring, both career and personal. So to speak in a language that people can really understand. And what I don't do is, pretend like I don't see what I see. Okay. I interact with folks and stuff like that, but I do tell the truth. Okay. The way I see it. So my question was, how do I then, because people still get depressed, right? Not just people, us. We still get angry, we get depressed, we feel like, okay, how do I make it to the next step? And we still use that kind of language, and we have the feelings that go along with that a lot, okay? However, I no longer buy into the journey talk, right? The all the stuff that has to do with purpose. Like you have a purpose, and you got to find out what that is and get there and all that. That just doesn't ring true anymore for me. There's nothing right or wrong with it. Okay, it just doesn't ring true. So with that in mind, how do I handle mentoring and coaching and all that, right? What's my self-talk like when I feel disappointed or like like there's somewhere to go, there's something to do. Okay, what's the self-talk like? What's my mentoring and stuff like? When I actually see something, different than that, not better or worse. Let me just keep saying that, but different. Okay. Hi, Rajiv. Hi, Ness. So that was my question. How do I do that? So I have a story in Tales from Eternity. So that's another book that I have, Tales from Eternity, where it's like short stories of how what life was like before I got to writing Firing God, okay? Just the whole, like all that stuff that was going on, it was just weird, okay? I couldn't talk to nobody, nothing. So I'm like, let me just blog about this stuff. So I just put all those blog posts together in the book, Tales from Eternity. So in there, right, and I'm looking over here because I have my notes over here. I have a story called Game Over, where I ask, well, what is a game? Okay, what really is that, right? And is game over true? And no, it's not. Okay, game over is never true as long as there's somebody there to play. Okay, you say game over, okay, right? But it's really not over as long as somebody is there to play, okay? Now, in game over is just about, okay, now it's time to have another experience. It's time to do something different, that's all, okay? And no one ever loses, no one ever wins, because game over is not true, okay? you play again. All right. So with that in mind, when I think about mentoring and stuff, it's not about getting better or being more or improving. You know, it's not, it's my coaching and career stuff, you know, it's not about that. It's not about that. So what is it about then? All right, what is it about? I don't want to do what I'm doing now. So to not do what I'm doing now, doesn't that mean I got to get better? Okay, doesn't that mean I have to be or get more? Okay, to not be what I am right now. All right, that seems logical. That's what we typically tell people. But I don't think so, right? I feel like it's more about just simply contrast, right? Because I have another story in there. It's called The Color Red, where I said if everything is red, like everything, every single thing, your feelings, smells, you know, touch, all that, if everything was red, you would never know what first of all, you wouldn't know that it's red, okay? And then you wouldn't know anything, you just wouldn't know anything because everything is the same, okay? So instead of getting better or being more or seeking less or, you know, or you know, being less or whatever, it's what I do now is it's about contrast, okay? So, okay, red. So now let's introduce green. It's just something different. It's something different that helps me better see the red. Okay, now let's introduce the blue. Okay, it's something different. That is not better, it's not worse, it's different, okay? And so in one of these conversations that I was having on Facebook, right? I was talking about how, what did I call it? How we are hungry for experience, right? That's one of the things that I came to see is that I don't care what kind of experience it is. Okay, it's just experience, period. Okay, just something different, you know? And how did I say? That's not how I said it. I said it like we're a whore for experience or something like that. I don't know, something like that I said. And it doesn't matter what it is, right? Which came up a lot. Hi, Elango. Hello. Request speaking. Okay, somebody has a question. I want to be sure I don't miss anything from you all.
Yeah, I'm online, yeah.
Oh, hi.
Just a minute, I'll just start my video. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
So thank you for accepting the question. I'm from India.
Okay.
And I've been a seeker for 30 years.
30 years.
Yep, I am 57 now.
Okay.
So my question is, what's your explanation for the term called enlightenment in spirituality?
The term enlightenment and spirituality.
Yeah. In spirituality,
in enlightenment in spirituality.
Correct.
Okay. So it's interesting that you've asked that, because I also have a story called Am I Enlightened Yet? Like because that was it was something I was wondering about, you know, because of the things that I'd heard other people say and all that. And I had no idea, Elenio, of the term enlightenment or anything like that, you know, because I grew up way like apart from that kind of stuff, you know, very fundamentalist, you know, religion. I didn't know anything about seeking, like none of that. I had no idea what that was. Okay. So, you know, after I had the experience I had, where I saw that I was just wrong about everything, that's when I started hanging around folks and listening to things where I heard those terms like enlightenment and non-duality and all that. So I wonder, like, what is that? Okay, and is that something I need to get to? How far is it from where I am now? And what direction? Is it up or down? Like where, like really asking those kinds of questions. Like, what is it? Because what I do know, and what I talked about last time, is that every word we say, and you know this too, you know, words are just symbols. That's all they are, okay, for something else. That are every single word that's pointing to something else. So I was like, okay, what's enlightenment pointing to? Like, what's real, you know, behind this, oh, I don't know, is it a noun or a verb or whatever, you know, this part of speech. like what is it? And do I have it? Do I have it yet? Right. So what I came to see regarding, you know, spirituality and enlightenment, okay, because I thought that I was spiritual at that time too, all right, is that all of that stuff is about escape. Whatever will allow me to escape from where I am right now.
Hello?
Is what I want, okay? Whether it's enlightenment, whether it's to be spiritual, whether it's, you know, hell, heaven, like whatever, to be a mother or a sister or somebody's friend or whatever the case is, okay? At that time, everything, I didn't see it, but what I came to see was that whatever this is, like, I don't want to be here. Okay, so I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get out of wherever I am, be it positive or negative. Okay, so for me, in being enlightened is no different than, I don't know what's the opposite of enlightenment. I don't know. Worldly, I guess. I don't know. But they're the same thing because they're all about not being here. Okay, that's what it's about, not being here. And eventually, you know, here is all there is. So I mean, you know, where am I going to go? You know, where and how am I going to get there? You know, where am I going to go? So there's, when it comes down to it, enlightenment is just another part of what I'm talking about right here. A playful game, okay, and wanting to do something different. So it's still there. So it's not, again, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but now the what do you call it? I guess you could say the reason for it is different now, okay? Before it was like, so that I can be better, so that I can be more, so that I can be essentially not here. I want to be enlightened, or I want to be more spiritual. I want to be Christian, or I want to be a mom, or be, you know, whatever, a politician, something. Okay, that's what the game used to be. Okay, the game used to be about escape, but it's not about escape anymore. It's about contrast now. Okay, I'm not saying I mean, if you want to be enlightened or whatever, I mean, you know, be that, you know, go ahead and do that. But what I see now is that it's not, like Emerson always says, it's really not serious. Okay, it's not, because at the end of the day, you're not going anywhere. Okay, you're not doing anything really. Okay, so we may as well go. And once I was able to see that, to really see that I'm really not going anywhere and not doing anything, I'm not getting better, I'm not getting worse, I'm not being diminished, I'm not being exalted, none of that stuff. Now I'm able to really do all that stuff. Okay, I'm really able to freely, you know, to freely seek if I want to. I can absolutely do that if I want to, you know, to freely, you know, just do some things, right? That security is there now, you know, for me to be free to just do whatever, because I know that there's nothing to do. If that, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, more or less what I got from you for the last 10 minutes was that the word called enlightenment sort of doesn't exist in Cheryl's dictionary. Sort of.
It exists, but it exists for a different reason. It used to exist to define a place for me to be. Now it exists as like, if you think of a color palette on a, you know, on a wheel where you're painting, that's what it exists for now. It's a part of the tools I use to create whatever art I want to. Okay, it's not about getting to a destination. It's about using my creativity to create, you know, whatever I want to make.
So
and that's
before
just
this
color on the palette.
So before the shift happened in you, what was the meaning of that word? In short.
I didn't know that word, but before.
Okay.
I really did. I was not in. I didn't know what non-duality was. I didn't know any of that. I had no. All I knew was that I was Baptist. Okay, so I knew there was one God. I read the Bible, and everybody else was wrong and going to hell. Okay, that's what I knew. Okay, so afterwards, I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? I didn't know any of that stuff. Okay.
Cheryl, are you a teacher? Are you a teacher?
Am I a teacher?
Yeah, in spirituality?
I teach cybersecurity.
No.
I share with people. I absolutely do that. I share a lot, okay, through books, and I have a YouTube channel and all that. So yeah,
we are not talking about cybersecurity.
I'm sorry?
One thing we are not talking about today is cybersecurity.
I know. Well, we talked about it a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. No, my question is very specific. Are you a teacher in spirituality? The question actually has a yes or no answer.
No, I don't. I don't consider myself a teacher, but I do speak to people about it, like I'm doing right now. Okay. But
so can you say that you're a speaker in spirituality?
I love speaking. Yes, I will go out and I'll speak about anything. You know, I really will. I love that. But I don't consider myself a teacher in the traditional sense.
Correct. But in an interview here in FM or in a Bat Gap or in a YouTube, you are sort of focused on to a certain segment of your life. It is not cybersecurity. It is not about dancing. It is not about singing. It's about a certain aspect of life which you're trying to share with us. Am I right?
It is a certain aspect of life I'm trying to share, but I do it through this. I do it through my everyday work in cybersecurity. I do it there too. Okay. I do it through being a mother. So like I said at the beginning, this is not separate from anything. Everything I'm saying here, I can say in the same way in a meeting at work. Okay. But just like I was saying at the beginning, using language that people can really understand better than what I'm talking about here.
So is this anything specific for us who are seeking? Now we understand post your shift that there are seekers in something called spirituality and Advaita. And there are, I think, millions of people who are following this subject. And when you're speaking here, I think you are sort of focusing yourself onto a certain segment of what we want. Only then there is a communication that you're trying to give us something. And what I would ask you as a seeker, as I told you for 30 years, is that when we seek, we are seeking the end of the me. The me as in the psychology, which is claiming the individual, which was there before, and which went afterwards in you. I mean, that is how we perceive people who have had the shift, that the persona has dropped and there is just only life flowing through them. Whereas those of us who are still seeking, that energy disturbs us and keeps us in human suffering. Suffering, I mean, not the suffering of a toothache, but the thought process, which 99% of the time keeps on, ringing around and around. Till that stops, we are looking out for what is called as enlightenment, when you are focused on in the present moment. So do you as a speaker would like to share anything which would help us to be in the realm that you are? I know intellectually that I am in the now, the present moment. I am not away from the now. But there is a difference between Cheryl and between Ilango, and that suffering has stopped for Cheryl in terms of a human's usual thinking pattern, which I think you would recognize post your shift as lessened or nearly gone away in your life, where you're just in the present and enjoying life as it is, except for the pain and pleasure which any animal has. But the human being has an added suffering added to, what will happen tomorrow? How will I pay my rent? How will I do this? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sure. So would you like to advise us in certain terms as, how can we reach this place that you are in?
Okay. So, first of all, I do worry about things. Okay, not how to pay my rent like right now, but I got a major bill from the IRS that I am not happy about. So I'm like, so there are like, I still worry about stuff that isn't different. And let me say this, right? So I do a lot of learning and development. Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. How are you? I do a lot of learning and development, and the way that I've redefined. So that's one thing that's different about Cheryl now than Cheryl before now. Okay, I have redefined a lot of things. Okay, I am not obligated to buy into what people have told me, that something should be, be it seeking, be it God, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, I know now that I can choose for myself. I don't have to go with the crowd. Okay, now the way I've chosen to define teaching is the same way I've chosen to define learning and empathy. Teaching, learning, and empathy all mean the same thing to me right now, okay? And that is the sharing of perspective and experience. That's it. All of that, teaching, learning, and empathy. Right now, that's how I've defined it, and that's how I roll with it, okay, as that. So that's number one. Number two, okay, again, I know now that I can choose. I didn't know that before. Okay. I did not recognize that before. Okay. That was always there. I never recognized it, or when I did recognize it, I chose to ignore it because I at the time I would rather have a higher power or something bigger than me be responsible, okay, and accountable. I was okay with the God and the devil, okay, because if something good happened, God did it. If something terrible happened, the devil was busy today, okay. Cheryl had nothing to do with nothing, okay. So that was good for me, all right. Now, so that's number two. Number three, before I did not see myself, okay. My daughter told me some years ago, okay, she was a little girl, like 13, 12 or 13 or something, when she said, Mom, do you realize we never see our own faces? I'm like, what are you talking about? You look in the mirror every day. She was like, no, but like in real time, I will never see my face ever, And I was like, man, first of all, for a 13-year-old, like that's pretty profound. So I was like, that's true. We will never see there is no way I can just turn around and look at my own face. Okay, that's just not going to happen in real time. Okay, and even then, if I can do that, it won't be real time because of the way our eyes work and all this other stuff, right? So, so really, really realizing that I don't know anything, like nothing at all. I'm sitting here for an hour with y'all, telling y'all a whole bunch of stuff and all the research or whatever, but at the end of the day, I don't know nothing, and I'm okay. Okay, before I had to be right. That was the thing. Cheryl had to be right. Okay, whatever else was going on, that's fine. But as long as I was right, I was good. All right. That is no longer the case. Okay, and the fact that I'm okay with that no longer being the case, those are just things that are different. Like I don't see me as let me just say those are the things that are different now. Okay, now how I came to realize that, is the story that I tell. But it was never like not here, like it was never not available to me. Okay, I was just able to get out of my way so that I could, see what the hell is available to me, and take advantage of that. Okay, Elanya, is that okay, Elanya?
Not enough. Is there anything specific that you'd like to tell us? Because there is apparently a difference between you and I. That is why you are a speaker and I'm listening to you. So is it like, you sit down in meditation, or, you reflect on a certain reality which you have come in now, which was not there before, that you would like to sort of specify, like a homework, or, something to be done to a maybe a teenager in a high school or in college, you give a sort of a lesson. Is there anything as such? Because a lot of teachers in spirituality have prescribed a lot of methods. So what would be Cheryl's method, if at all any?
Okay, well, Elanio, if you give me a minute, let me look at some people's other comments. And when I get to the end, I think you'll hear what I was going to be talking about regarding the mentoring and the coaching. Okay, so just hang out for 1 second. Okay, Mark, let's see what Mark is saying. Hi, Mark, how are you? Not spirituality. Spirituality is personal seeking. It is not seeking. This is a recession. Okay, well done, very clear. John, hi, John. Sounds like your daughter found out what Douglas Harding taught. Oh yeah, Douglas Harding. I remember his name from something. I guess she did. I don't know, but I was very surprised that she even said that. What is heaven or hell? What is liberation from that? Let me look at some folks on YouTube here. Okay, Mark, you're on YouTube. Okay, very good. What is heaven or hell? Oh my God. So this is so cool. All right, so now, as you all know, especially if you read my book, heaven and hell were like the thing. Like these are like the places, right? Either one. All right. Now I see that again, it just rolls up into experience. I just want to experience. I don't care, heaven or hell, whatever. I just want something. Okay. But what I saw, hi, Julie, how are you? What I saw is that, and it all comes back to choosing, right? It comes back to decision making. Now, one thing that I said a lot of things, but something that I said in Tales from Eternity was about how the original sin was not committed by Adam or Eve, okay? I said it was committed by God, okay? And that's what the story of Genesis is about. When God was separating the heavens from the earth, and the firmament from the water, and the trees from the ground, and the blue from the yellow, all that stuff that was being separated, he was sinning. He was doing that, okay? Because he was creating separation. God committed the original sin, okay? When he put heaven up here and hell down here, that was him. Okay. Or her, however you see God, whatever. All right. God did it. Okay. Now, heaven and hell. So when I was writing, I was gonna title Firing God. The first title of Firing God was gonna be what was it gonna be? The freedom of no choice. That's what it was gonna be. The freedom of no choice. Because what I came to see, right, was that decisions, when I have to make a decision, when I have to, or a choice, they're different, but I'll just use them like they're the same, right? Bad things happen, okay? When I choose, bad things happen, all right? I don't wanna have to do that. Can I just live and be good without having to make a choice? Man, can you imagine? I don't have to choose like when to wake up, what to eat, how much to invest for my kid, whether to get married or not. Is this person good? Can I trust? I ain't got to make those kind of choices. I don't have to make choices at all. I can just be and not have to choose at all. Okay, that's heaven. Heaven is not having to make a choice. That's what that is. At least that's what I came to see, okay? That is heaven, all right? Not having to make a choice. Now, and what is hell? Hell is every day, child. What's for dinner? How much money do I need to spend on this? Because there's research that says that every individual human makes like 65,000 choices a day, per day. You know, you have to say left or right 65,000 times a day. Do you know how many opportunities that is to get it wrong and to screw some shit up? Okay. You got 65,000 chances to make a mistake. Okay. And we take, listen, over half of those we probably make the wrong choice. Choosing, I mean, choosing is that's a whole chore, child. I mean, that's like, my goodness. So that's what it is. That's how I've interpreted it. Let me say it like that. Heaven is, I don't have to make another choice and I'm good. I can just live and be good. Hell is, Lord, here we go again. What if it's the wrong one? 9 times out of 10 it is, So, hi, Catherine. Hi, Cheryl. First time I've heard that perspective of God being at the origin of separation. A lot of people would probably oh yeah, they would be very upset hearing that. Very upset, very upset. I got the smudge on my glasses. I cannot get rid of it. Yeah, that would be me. But the thing is, right? The thing is that, I mean, I think it's a good thing, right? I mean, separation, just like I was talking about with contrast, but you got to take the one side of the coin with the other one, I mean, contrast is nice when you think about the, skies and, how beautiful and wonderful things are, but I only know that they're beautiful and wonderful if I know what's terrible and evil or, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta do both of those. Oh, it's going. Is it going? That's better. Hi, Michael. How are you? Yeah, so where was I? What was I talking about? Okay, what makes sense for me? So when I'm talking to people, all right, is to bring out the contrast, is we want to engineer a different experience, okay, when it comes to our careers, or we want to use the tools that are available to us to go ahead and make that happen. Let me see. And the key to all that, the key to that too, is really another thing that is different. That is different about the way that I move now is sincerity. There was so much of what I did before that was about being judged a certain way by somebody else. Okay. Now I told my son, we were on our way to, I was going to drop him off at school. This was last week. And, they've just started going back to school because of coronavirus. So they're just going back 2 days a week. And we would go on walks and stuff in the evening and just have a bunch of just conversations. Now he's young, he's only 12 years old, but he'll be 12 this year. But I was telling him about how I was bullied when I was in school. Okay. When I was on the bus and there was this little boy who would just get off the bus and he'd hit me for some reason. And, I was like, man, what? I didn't do anything to him. Right. So, I was telling him, kids are the worst. I mean, human beings are terrible, but kids are the worst. I mean, kids have no mercy. I mean, none. Okay. So, I was like, a way to control that, okay, or to control your feelings or our feelings in that is for us to, and I told him, I said, this applies to mommy too, because adults have bullies as well, okay? It's not just kids in school, many of us have bullies. So I said, it's important for you to know, or you to decide how you want to show up, okay? you know, do I really want to cut my hair like this, like all my hair off? Like, do I really want to do? Because I know that, you know, people are going to judge it a certain way. Do I really want to write a book called Firing God? Do I really want to do that? Okay, because there are people that I love very much who I know will not agree with it. They're going to see me in a different light. They're going to talk about me here. They're going to, you know, maybe do some stuff to sabotage what I'm doing. Like, I understand, but do I want to show up like this? Okay, is that how I want to do it? And because what happens is, I told them, I said, listen, if somebody says, Paul, his name is Paul, you're very smart and you're kind and you're one, and you latch on to that. I said, if you believe that, 100% believe what they're telling you. And I said, this applies to me too, Paul. I said to mom too. If you believe, okay, I said, that's fine. But if that same person or somebody else comes along and says the total opposite, you're not smart, you know, you're not kind, you're not, guess what? You got to believe that too. So I said, if you don't choose for yourself how you're going to show up at school, okay, and be it a bully or the nicest person there, okay, comes and tells you something, okay, you're going to believe it, and that's going to impact how you react. You know, how is your whole, you're going to be sad today. Well, I'm sad today because somebody told me this about me, or I'm upset because this other person said this about me. Or I said, you're going to be like a thunderstorm. You're just going to be all over the place because you're depending on what other people tell you, you know, to have you choose how you're going to be in a certain moment. Okay. Now he looks at me like, okay, mom, I'm hoping he'll remember this, right, as he gets a little older. But I, as an adult, you know, I had to tell myself that too. I had to tell myself, Cheryl, listen, do you want to write this book, okay, and put these words in there and share your experience and perspective? Do you want to do that? You either do or you don't, okay? And what people say about it, they just say about it, okay? But at the end of the day, it's about me sharing my perspective and experience. Remember, that's how I said how I define teaching, learning, and empathy, sharing perspective and experience, okay? And I decided, hey, you know, I do. I want to share. I want to share. I do. Now, how somebody else feels about my sharing my perspective and experience is just how they feel about it, okay? But it doesn't diminish my sharing. Okay, it doesn't make me regret my sharing. All right, and the wonderful thing about sharing, and this is something else that I've redefined. I can make my own dictionary right about now. I should do that, right? Come out with like a brief book or something about, you know, way I redefine words. So when we think about sharing, especially when we're kids, okay, which is why kids don't like to do it, and I don't blame them. I don't want to share either. This is my cookie. I got one. Why I got to share with two other people, okay? Because when we share, you know, typically we lose. We lose something, okay? And I don't care how you try to tell me, you know, I'm 6, okay, and you're telling me it's good to share, you know, if you share, then they'll share with you, whatever. All I know is I'm losing, okay? I had this, now I'm only gonna have this much because I had to share. I had to share, okay? Now with this sharing that I'm talking about, when you're sharing perspective and experience, that's like the kind of sharing when you when you love somebody, right? If you have a lot of people in your life that you love, be they your children, your, you know, parents, friends, whatever, you don't lose anything when you love somebody else, do you? You don't lose anything. You don't gain anything either. In real sharing, there's no loss or gain. All there is sharing. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this kind of share, like I'm doing right now, I love this. Like, I really do. I don't get anything from it, and I'm not losing anything by sharing, you know, with you all. Now, if you're looking to gain something, or if I'm looking to gain something, that's a different thing, right? But this and my writing and, and all that stuff, that's just, that's just what it is, and I choose to do it or not, or not. Which is kind of like another distinction I make. Oh, Christine from Facebook. Please ask Cheryl to do a virtual retreat. Oh, that's so sweet, Christine. She's the most realistic, down-to-earth speaker about non-duality. That's so nice. Thank you for saying that. So one of the things that I wanted to do, right, is, and I spoke about this the last time we were on, and we have about 9 minutes left. So if you all have something to ask, please go ahead and do that. Michael, hold 1 second before I go to that. Michael Parker Sutton. Hi, Michael. Do we make choices, or do we just do something and then claim we made the choice after the fact? There's some really interesting research about that, but so for Michael, I think that the way I've come to see it, right, is that there's a subtle difference between a choice and a decision, right? So for me, a decision like moves you, okay? Because to make a decision, you have to incorporate unknowing, like you have to incorporate ambiguity, like there's just something you don't know, okay? But that has to be incorporated before you actually make a decision. There's a lot of unknowns, okay? So, but for a choice, all the things are there, okay? It's like the difference between a puzzle and a mystery, okay? So when you make a choice, all the puzzle pieces are there. You just got to choose which one goes where it's supposed to go. Okay, there's no ambiguity there. Okay, no real ambiguity, because all the pieces are right there in front of you. Okay, now a decision is different. It's totally different. Okay, it's a total mystery. Okay, first of all, you don't have the box, so you, like with a puzzle, you just look at the picture on the box, so you know what the thing is supposed to be. With a decision, you don't have that picture, and you got one puzzle piece. You have no idea what the rest of the puzzle, you don't know nothing, but you have to decide to place that somewhere, okay? That's just what you do. There's a lot of risk and all kinds of stuff, right? So I feel like, we're very comfortable making choices. Do you want the chicken or the fish? Okay. We're comfortable with that, but when it comes to decision making, I feel like that's a different ball game, and that's it's harder to do. We'd rather make choices, I think, but sometimes, you make those life decisions. Do I marry this person or not is one of them, okay? And that ends up being the best decision you've made, or like, oh my God, can I go back and rewind? Like, can I start over type thing? You know what I'm saying? John, Cheryl, do you interpret or see many passages in the Bible after you've had a non-dual awakening? How do you interpret Jesus' life as compared to before? Yeah, so before it was all fact, and it was all like before. If the only book we had in this world was the Bible, we'd be good. We don't need scientific books. We don't need TV. Like, we don't need, nothing. We don't need none of that. Okay, that's what we was before. This was the truth. Okay, before, the Bible was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if you didn't believe the truth, you were wrong, and you were going to pay for that for eternity. Okay, you're going to pay for that. So that's what it was before. Okay, Longo, so you asked me what kind of advice I would give for individuals who were still.
Yeah, I'll just rephrase my question just for a reminder.
Okay.
Cheryl was in, say, just for an example, you were in position A before the shift. Now it is position B, whereas Ilango was in position A. Now Ilango wants to know how to shift to position B. Is there a method?
Yeah, so to see that position A and B are the same position, that's the method. Now, which was very frustrating, okay, because I was like, that can't be it. It can't, don't tell me there's nothing I need to do, okay? First of all, that can't be it, okay, all right? Don't tell me there's nothing to find. Don't tell me there's nothing to see. Don't tell me any of that, because I want to do something, all right, to get somewhere that is not here, which is the way that I had been operating, you know, since I've been here. Okay. Now to tell me, first of all, you've never gone anywhere, ever. Okay. That stuff was hard to take. It really was. I was livid. Do you know how angry you have to be to say you're livid? Like, I was so upset that everything I had been doing was for nothing. You know, that I mean, and then I was so relieved. It's crazy how much weight had just been lifted off, you know, because we want to do something. We feel like that's the only way I can get it, but I had to believe that I don't have it in order for me to get it, you know, which is something that I talk about a lot. That's what firing God is really about. I have to make what is missing in order for me to find it. Okay, I got to make that. I have to, if I'm going to be enlightened, if I'm going to be a different being, you know, if I'm going to be more spiritual, if I'm going to be whatever, okay, I gotta make that first, and then say I don't have it, then I gotta go get it. That's a lot of work. Okay, I was exhausted. Listen, let me tell you, the thing that led me, if you want to know a method, here it is. I was tired as hell. Okay, I'm telling you, it's like when you pick up weights and your muscles, you just can't pick up, you can't pick them up anymore. You just can't. That is the thing. Exhaustion, absolute 100% spiritual, emotional, physical, all that exhaustion that got me to slow down.
Yeah. Were you a spiritual seeker before this, before the shift? Were you seeking something?
Before this, I was
to get exhausted. To get exhausted.
Before this, I was a Christian going to heaven, and everybody else who was not like me was going to hell. Before this, okay?
So
I was tired. I was tired of trying to be a good Christian, okay? I had done everything, churches, prayer, fasting. I mean, everything you can think of to be better. I was tired. And I said that. I said, you know what? I can't do it anymore.
And as a human, you were tired of religion.
I'm sorry?
As a human being, you became tired of religion and you were exhausted.
I did not become tired of religion. I wanted to be more religious. I was just tired. I couldn't, all the stuff I was trying to do was not getting me where I thought I needed to be a good Christian. And I was exhausted, okay? And in my exhaustion, I told the truth. I said, you know what? I don't believe what is in this Bible. I was talking to God. I was like, and you know what else? I don't love you. I never loved you. I don't even know you, okay? In my exhaustion, the only thing left in my toolbox was to tell the truth. That's it.
So is the method, what you say is try whatever you want and get exhausted? Is that a method?
I don't know if that's a method or not. I mean, is telling the truth a method?
Because in India, we have a certain person called as Patanjali, and in that, it is supposed to be a treatise in yoga. The first line says, you have to be totally hopeless to start yoga or the spiritual search. Even hopelessness has to drop out of you. That is the first line. So I was just trying to, sort of compare that with what you're saying. Anyway, just switching on to the next question. Do you believe in free will? Are you a biological robot?
Am I a biological robot? Ooh, I'm gonna have to think about that one. I don't even know what that means. Am I a biological robot? I don't know. That's an interesting question.
No, the thing is, we are talking across the internet through a laptop, and I am talking through my cell phone. And these are all computers based on silica. Silica is after all sand. Silicon dioxide is what is in the microchip. Whereas in the human being, we are carbon-based computers, which have been pre-programmed, predestined by cosmic script, where there is no script writer. Everything happens by itself. And the body, which has been created by a sperm and a ovum in the embryo and the uterus, and comes out as a child, has no free will. Cheryl has no free will. Ilango has no free will. You have 206 bones in your body, the flesh, the muscles, the eye, everything acts on its own. The thought acts on its own. And one day you get enlightened and I'm a seeker. This is a big drama. And are we biological robots in that way?
Okay. So first of all, you have a lot of facts. I mean, that's that's really nice. But let me just say this, okay, regarding that. And then I'm going to wrap it up because we're at time. One of the things that I said, and this is in the book, it's in Firing God, when I saw that I was dying and I was like, man, there's just nothing I can do about this. I'm just going to be dead. And then, you know, I was just, you know, the thing happened and I was able to just see how I was wrong about stuff. One of the first things I asked, and it was like this, okay, I was sitting at my desk at work. I had coffee over here. I had my fan on. I looked at my computer and I said, why is a computer in eternity? Like, that makes no sense. Like, what's a computer doing here? Everything around me, it was like weird because eternity is not supposed to be me sitting here at my desk checking emails, okay? But I saw at that moment that it was absolutely that. And I did not know how a computer could be here. I did not know. So that's how I'm gonna, I see that we're at time. I'm so glad that you all were here. Thank you for everybody who asked questions and who stayed and you listened and you participated. I really, really appreciate it. Michael, you had a question. Let me see. You said, do we make choice? Oh, I answered that already after the fact. Okay, we got that one already. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope to see you again next month, same day, same time. And we'll just chop it up then, okay? So thank you all again so much.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Emerson. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.